family. Vicki Dillard here for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give us a big thumbs up, share the broadcast, and subscribe here, as well as to our new app and website, would you? Thank you so very much. You help to expand our media empire, beloved. And how many of you all know it's so important that we have powerful media voices that can speak for us? Family. Now, I keep talking about that we don't really recognize just how powerful we are, and that even in the incipiency stage, even with us still in the middle of war by our open enemy, even when we can look at all of the so-called failures that we face, we still pose an extraordinary and significant threat to the powers that shouldn't be. And this is why they work overtime to destroy us. There is a sacred text that says that the more they afflict you, the more one multiplies and grows. This is the miscalculation of our open enemy when they do such weird things. And I bring you these geopolitical insights as I learn them. I'm a student and I just have a curious mind, and I'm coming across different things here that I'm seeing councils plot. And so I'm sounding the alarm to our people as I hear it. And they're saying these things openly because they know the time is short to rule. Family, I want you to prepare to get ready to listen to this clip of a meeting of the mind. This was a colloquy between geopolitical analysts and experts. One was a Russian Moscow expert, and there are different other ones that have European Eurasian expertise. This particular one that you're listening to right now is a geopolitical analyst. And they literally, their topic for this particular meeting was Russia and the Global South. Listen to this brief clip of what one of the analysts said.
Dragged the U.S. into many conflicts that were not really in the vital U.S. interests, and that became truly very burdensome. So if Russia is in country X in Africa, it doesn't mean that the U.S. has to go in to counter that. In some respect, going back to the earlier part of this conversation, if Russia is in places where there's a high degree of state failure and anarchy, it may be that Russia will end up over time in a very difficult position just by its own devices. I don't think that the U.S. has to be there to sort of push it over the cliff.
Now, again, the context of what you just heard is in a more than an hour-long meeting, which I listened to and watched. And they're going back and forth about Russia, Moscow's engagement with the Global South, which obviously, even though that's not the best term for the majority of the world, because that's the Global South is majority of the world, not the North. Talk black to me, somebody. But we'll use that term now, just for now. The so-called Global South. This is talking about Russia's engagement with the Global South. And one of the things, the context of the clip that you just heard is basically him saying that this obsession, as it were, of the United States and Western countries to surveillance and snoop on and analyze every move that Russia is making. He cautions the United States and Western nations not to overdo it when it comes down to, and you heard what he said, so-called nation X in Africa that's a failed state and full of anarchy. He used the word anarchy and called it a failed state. Let me tell you something. In my 44 years of living, one of the things that I have come to sometimes appreciate is when people see me as the underdog, when people treat me as the nobody. It's always dangerous when you count out the most powerful person, and in this case, the most powerful nations and the most powerful continent. They are openly saying failed state, and don't worry about what Russia is doing in certain African countries that's full of anarchy. Basically, he was letting you know that Russia will basically implode on itself for engaging in those failed states. How many of you all know that everybody's not seeing them as failed states. How many of you all know that the powers that shouldn't be, they're very jealous and they're very worried about the de-dollarization that's going on. They're very worried about the alliances that the so-called global South is making and the inroads that they're making because they're able to think for themselves, build for themselves, and develop for themselves, which is why they're constantly trying to mess making those countries. So as long as you're fighting, as long as you're dealing with corruption, you can't develop your nations. So this expert, and I say it in quotes, arrogantly says, just let Russia mess with the failed African states that are full of anarchy. Because Russia will just basically destroy itself. I hope my African nations and my Black brothers and sisters around the world is listening to that. We just give you a wink and a nod. We don't mind you seeing us as the nobodies. Because when we come from behind, those little handful of you that think that way, it'll be too late because we're already situated to rule. We are indeed the original people and we're very capable and we're just getting started. I just thought I would bring that up. Beloved, I'm going to be teaching about your extraordinary DNA power. I'm going to be talking about the forbidden knowledge that lies within our melanin and within our unique royal bloodline that the Vatican knows, the United States knows about, and NASA knows about. The question is, not enough of us know about our supernatural powers. And more importantly, we don't know how to activate it. Myself, along with Rod Hayes, a well-known mystic, we're going to be getting together on Sunday, November 12th. Mark your calendars. Sunday, November 12th. Get your seat today by going to my website at vickiplanet.com so that you can bless your lineage and remove spells, hexes, and curses and begin to bless it so that you can become the new world rulers. The secret to our rulership is our supernatural magic or our supernatural power. It's not about us having more money and more weapons than the Western European nations and America and so forth. It's about our supernatural spiritual power that's going to give us the edge. Don't miss Sunday, November 12th. Be sure to mark your calendars today. Go to my website at vickiplanet.com. That's VICKI planet.com. I can't wait to see you again.